Hey, 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 and welcome to another episode of Revival Flicks, where we try to find some classic movies with today's perspective. Maybe we find something lost, maybe we find something new, as weird as it may sound, or maybe a film was not appreciated at the time it was launched, and maybe today, with today's understanding, maybe we have like a different. Evaluation. So yeah, so I'm glad to announce that we have our first truly treasure that we found. Because I mean, one of the goals from this channel was in fact to try to find something, some lost or some unknown movies that maybe would be um, like a true gem, like a hidden gem and so on. So I'm really pleased to announce that I'm almost certain that we have found our first one. So the name of the film is Happy End that we're going to review today. So it starts off being from Czechoslovakia, which is a country that doesn't even exist anymore. So it already starts kind of weird, right? And the way that I found this film is actually one of the ways that I hoped that it would lead me to finding other great productions and great worth watching movies. So I did an episode on a film called Irreversible, which was from 2002. I had postponed, like watching that. I didn't watch at the time that it was launched, but it was a big, like a big fuss, like in the smaller festivals and so on. Everyone was talking about it. So I didn't watch it at the time. I'm not exactly sure why. I did try to watch like a couple of times, but the initial scenes were kind of slow. I always used to fall asleep, but it turned out to be a great movie. A lot of violence, a very violent movie, and the cool aspect about it's that it was the script, right? The screenplay was kind of like backwards. So that always fascinated me. Like not only when you watch a movie that starts from the end. I think that's a kind of like a cool effect as long as it's appropriate. But in the case of Irreversible, it was kind of like the full movie going backwards. But that was actually not a new thing at the time. 2002, I'm talking about. So I remember in 2000 that there was a movie called Memento, and for anyone that is Chris Nolan's fans already knows what I'm talking about. So it was one of his early movies, which was also all backwards. So the main difference between the, I mean, there are a lot of differences between these movies, but in my opinion, the main difference is like so. Irreversible was more like focus on the violence aspect of it and so on, the acting, the directing, and so on. The Memento, I think the value there was kind of like how the plot, was all constructed backwards and so on to make. I mean, in Irreversible, in my opinion, the plot was simple, but what changed over the time was like your emotions uh, during the revelations, of what was happening earlier and so on. In the case of Memento, since it was kind of like a mystery, a detective, kind of like a crime movie, the plot was more elaborated. So these are, in my take, are the main differences between these two movies. But when I was making the video for Irreversible, I actually couldn't think of another film that was actually uh, which had a story that was like really backwards, like not like only beginning from the end, like not only in the opening scene, like the end scene from the movie, which that's really common, but like the full movie going backwards. So I couldn't really remember another film that explored that a lot. So I went to ChatGPT to like to give me some movies that had that same structure, right? So I'm even going to open the notes here that I had for Irreversible that I can also cite again the movies that he came up with. So the movies were okay. So it kind of like probably there's like a bunch of movies, but anyway, it from the top of his head or its head, it mentioned Happy End from 1967, which is the one that we're going to review today, Betrayal from 1983, Two Friends from 1986, Peppermint Candy from 1999, 5 by 2 from 2004, and Shimmer Lake from 2017. So I started with not started actually. I just picked this one because it was like the oldest one. So kind of like, oh, okay. So let's see what they tried to do. You know, like as a backwards screenplay. You know, like back in the '60s. So it set my expectations like to a very low bar, but I must confess that's not the case. I mean in IMDb rating it that as soon as I opened this and I saw like 7.8, I said, oh, wait a minute, a 7.8 for a 1967 movie that was screen written like backwards. There's got to be something to it, right? So there's got to be something wrong there. I'm gonna anticipate already my rating that I that I gave it this film after watching it. I give it a 9. I mean, it's really one of the most surprising films that I watched, you know, like recently for sure. This year, maybe last year also together and so on. I mean, I mean, we had some great movies that came out, you know, like recently, but not so many, but one or two good, solid movies. But this one really stood out, and I'm going to get right into it. This is so exciting reviewing this movie. I mean, this was really totally unexpected. I didn't even have like I mean, I still don't, you know, like have like um, a list of movies that I'm gonna watch. So I'm just going, you know, like by the feel of it. Anyway, so looking at IMDb, uh, so instantly I noticed that the direct. I mean, of course, it's needless to say that I don't know any directors here, any actors from this movie. I mean, it's a total another world for me. Czechoslovakia. I never heard that they had like a any kind of scene in cinema and movies and so on. But I mean, just by browsing what this director did and the ratings that he has in IMDb, I'm for sure gonna dig in. I'm for sure gonna dig in. So because he has like a long list of highly rated films in IMDb. So there must be something. I mean, just be, just based on the of what I've seen about this movie, the level of planning on the screenwriting for this film. So okay, so let's so let's address first the minor details, right? So Oldrich, I would say Oldrich Lipsky or Lipsky, probably. I'm for sure not gonna pronounce his name correctly. Anyway, he was the director, and he also wrote the script together with Milos Macourek, something like in those lines. But I'm probably Oldrich Lipsky. I would say he's probably he has probably a more extensive, maybe filmography from what I've seen there. A lot of productions with high ratings again. But anyway, let's give credit also to the other one, Milos Mokorek, since he also wrote many films together. So probably a good partnership there. So then I mean, from the list that I kind of like browsed a bit, there are for sure three films that I'm gonna watch from him, which is Lemonade Joe had a rating of 7.4 from 1964. Then I thought some of the some of the titles were funny. So I Killed Einstein, Gentlemen, which is 6.8 from 1970. Okay, so a quick note here. So Lemonade Joe, which had also a good rating from 1964, was kind of like the build-up film probably before he did Happy End. So that's why I'm gonna probably watch this one next, maybe. Let's see if it's any good. Of course, I'm gonna make a video about it. So I Killed Einstein, gentlemen. It's from 1970, and then The Mysterious Castle in Carpathians. 7.2, 1981. So he has a really extensive career there. A lot of movies to watch from him, and I mean, based on this one, I'm for sure gonna give a lot of attention. And I mean, I'm so excited about this movie that depending on the other films, if they're so great as this one is, who knows? Maybe it stimulates me to make a documentary about him because I tried to search something about him on YouTube. I didn't find anything, and I mean, uh, based on the level of quality of this film, I'm surprised that it doesn't have. I mean, it had some videos there, probably in Czech, but nothing in English. So I was really surprised about that. This is really something. This is something valuable. This is no no hyper, no overestimating, for sure. This is no hype. I'm telling you. But anyway, so needless to say also that I wasn't familiar with any of his films there and so on. The only detail that maybe it went kind of like mainstream was a person by the name of Theodor Pištěk. For sure that's not how it's pronounced, but anyway, he was into the costume designs of this film, and apparently he won an Oscar for Amadeus from 1984. That's a great movie, and he won like tons of Oscars, maybe even 6 or 7. I don't know off the top of my head right now, but it did, and it was like a very successful film at the time, and it is a very good, solid, classic movie. If you haven't watched it, it's the story from Mozart, right? By now, if you're if you're in this channel, you're for sure familiar with that film. If you didn't watch it, for sure that's a must-watch film. Another disclaimer I must do. So, if you watched any of my older videos here, you probably notice a pattern. I normally, uh, put like a trailer without music and so on, and then some photos that I find in IMDb, and I just select some of the photos or images that I find interesting, especially with the posters. The posters really get me since I come from a design background and so on. Anyway, on this film, I opted not to put the trailer in because I don't want to give like any clues of what's the film about, you know, so it doesn't spoil any of I would say the emotions or maybe the impression that I had while watching the movie, because I didn't watch anything about it. I didn't know. I hadn't the faintest idea of what it was about. I just watched it. So I'm not putting in the trailers. I'm putting in maybe I mean just a few pics, but just pictures that I know that won't reveal anything about the movie. But so let's start like the real getting into the real I would say essence of the movie. So as I commented, right, it's a backwards screenplay, right? So if you're familiar with Memento, if you're familiar with Irreversible, you notice that they kind of they're backwards, but they're not fully backwards, right? So they have like the scenes are backwards, but the scenes they play out like normally, but you watch it, like cuts, backwards. That's valuable. That's super hard to do, planning and so on, and editing and whatever and so on, right? But this one, in my opinion, it's another level. This one, it's like really backwards. What do I mean by that? I mean that even the dialogues, I mean not the speaking, you can understand everything. I mean you can't understand because everything is in Czech, right? So you can understand, but I mean the subtitle. I watched with English subtitles, but I mean we know that the lines are not backwards, right? Even if you speak Czech and so on, the lines are not backwards. Except for a few times, the lines are backwards. Even that was funny. But normally, I think they did it, like um, just to level up, that impression that it's everything is like in backwards, right? But anyway, what I mean by that, I mean that the lines, even though they speak not in backwards, but the lines are backwards. Like the last line happens before the first, and so on and so on. So why is it another level? Because that's even harder. Not to execute. I mean, you can throw like a script and then just film it. Like film it backwards. With the lines and so on. And well, that's not hard, right? No, that's not that's not what I mean by hard. What I mean by hard is because they had to think of it and try to plan it so the viewer could understand what was happening. So let me get into more details without spoiling, right? So the plot is not simple. It's not. I would say it's even more complex than Irreversible. Maybe not so complex as Memento. Maybe it is. I'm not sure. You guys can watch it and leave the comments afterwards. But anyway, um, they had to plan, like each scene, um, and the full movie is backwards. But anyway, they had to plan each scene, and the dialogues. They had to construct something that it would be simple. Uh, it would it would be you would have like a simple timeline in a overall complex story. No, the story is not so simple, but the lines would have to be kind of like simple for you to remember while it would be going backwards, and you would still be attached to the story, to the storyline. It was so amazing watching this. I am really curious on how the people that watched at the time, how they received that. If they thought it was like total garbage, or if they did have, like, because nowadays, I mean, you can say anything you want, but we're like constantly bombarded, with all types of messaging styles and so on, from all types of media. So to catch something like this, it's like for sure, even if you have no education at all, right? It's easier. It's for sure easier for us to catch and grasp what's happening than it was like, I don't know, 50 years ago, right? So that's the first. I would say that's the first aspect that, I mean, when you start watching it, and you realize that even the dialogues are kind of like backwards, and then you get into the spirit of the movie, man. It's so fascinating. I, I'm serious. I applauded the film like multiple times while I was watching, because I couldn't believe my eyes that this film was like, it has like 1 hour, 13 minutes, right? It's enough time for you to connect with the characters. The cut, it's tremendous because it's fast paced. I mean, I can't even begin to express how grateful I am to have found this, and to have, like, ha- get to know a director that had this vision. you know so anyway, so the scenes, even though, like, as I said, some scenes are kind of like simple with simple dialogue, but when you really observe it, they weren't simple scenes. They were really, probably they did a lot of experimentation to get a feel of would come out if you would run backwards, because all of the scenes, they have something there that watching it backwards is kind of like it's really mind blowing. I have no other words for this. This is a mind blowing film. This is a mind blowing film. This is no hype, guys. Please take my word for it. If I mean, if it's not in the level that I'm expressing here, just hit the unlike button. This is probably available in my channel anyway. But yeah, you gotta watch this film. You gotta watch this film. I can express my gratitude on having found this film. Well, moving on. As I mentioned quickly, was a very well edited film. So not only technically, but it has kind of like a modern film feel to it, you know. So at some points, actually, it kind of reminded me of Citizen Kane from 1941. Of course, if you also, follow this this channel, you're for sure familiar with it. That was also like an old movie with a very modern touch to it, like in terms of editing and so on. So in this film, I also got that impression a few times. And I mean, since it was like 20 years later, right? And with this level of quality, I'm sure that Oldrich Lipsky was inspired by Citizen Kane. Citizen Kane at some point was probably considered one of the best films done in history. So yeah, so for the lovers, from Citizen Kane, you can, rest assured that I would say this is close to it. This is very close in terms of editing and so on. So it's a black comedy film. I need to warn you guys about something. So there are some scenes that has kind of like a touch of animal cruelty. I mean, at the time, for sure, that wouldn't be an issue, especially if since it probably was done in kind of like a criticism to some kind of system or whatever. But I need just to make this disclaimer, just in case there are some sensitive people out there that wouldn't like to you know to uh, to watch these kind of scenes. Be aware. I mean, it's subtle, but it's there. You should be aware of it. And anyway, uh, the soundtrack also caught my attention. Sometimes I felt like it was soundtrack, like from a cartoon or something. I thought it was a very very good mix. I mean, so since we have black humor, I guess you can already infer that there's something bad is going on in the plot, right? So mixed with a soundtrack that resembles some kind of cartoonish style. I mean, if I keep going on, I'm gonna spoil it. I'm trying not to, but I mean, everything together there, it's it's such a good mix, please watch it and thank me later for sure. Acting also superb from all of the actors. The main character, um, the other ones involved. I'm not gonna say their what type of characters they are, but I wouldn't say that anyone like stood out as much in favor of the other one. I thought like all three or four main characters there were great, great acting there. Comedy, very very good. I would say that type of um, I would say like physical comedy, not so much with the dialogues and so on, but the physical stuff, very good, very good. Yeah, and it had like a very good rhythm to it with the editing and also how the scenes were planned and so on. Very good. I can't express how amazed I was, how blown away I was with this film. The only minor detail I would say that could have, like room for improvement would be the ending. But I mean, if anyone is familiar, like with classic films, like pre 70, 60, or 50 or and so on, you're already also accustomed with the endings not being so great. Sometimes, they just, like end for no reason and so on. So that's totally expected. Um, so yeah. So for this one, I'm going actually. I found a link in YouTube that has the full movie, but it doesn't have the subtitles. So it's kind of already kind of like an open source. I'm gonna try to find maybe some way to deliver this because I do have the subtitles in English. So I'm going to post the in the in the description like a tool that you can download, the full film from YouTube, and with the subtitles in English. With the download link. Also, maybe you're going to be able to watch it and sync it. I'm going to leave this here, but probably it's not going to be so easy to watch. With the correct subtitles that you wish to. But for sure, I cannot like stop repeating this, but it's worth it. Go watch it. Go find this movie. When I was searching for where it was, it said it was in Plex, but I couldn't find it here. Maybe it was because of my region. Anyway, maybe in other regions that maybe Plex does serve this, but probably other platforms will also have this film. And yeah, uh, please let me know if it was in fact worth it. And yeah, ready for the next one. See you guys again soon.